This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. Microdose. Day 5. Strain is the golden teacher. Today started as an emotional day. I walked right up to the jar, weighed out 0.33 grams, and I ate it quick with my coffee. I received 2 Facebook messages from 2 other Fearless family members. One helped with a couple of people to break through, and the other knows the crafts of our families are right over our heads, cloaked from the human awareness. I began to cry, seeing others rise through their experiences. I had an amazing conversation with Nicholas about everything we've been uncovering along all these journeys. Everything seems to be coming together. It's like past, present, and future is twisting so that the connections are being revealed. We know each other not just from our human experiences. We are a star family that has come here to change the world. All of our fractals, all the pieces that make us us are returning. All of the pieces of the Russian nesting doll are coming back together. We are reforming and activating. We have such little knowledge of who we truly are. As I sat at my computer, I noticed that the TV was not picking up my computer signals. So I checked. This should be working fine. So I pull the wire, and the PS4 comes flying around the side of the TV. I get everything off my desk, and I swing the TV around. All the plugs are completely switched around. Do you remember when this happened, by the way?
I do remember.
The plugs were completely in different plugs.
I do remember that
pieces.
Because you said there's no way I could have done it because I can't pull the TV out.
You physically can't do it. All right. I think some of us have had issues before with those kind of weird paranormal things that happen around the house, right? I know I have. I know you have too. What happened last night to the tweezer?
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, it was gone, and then it was back.
Yes.
Yeah, no duh.
So,
we only live with 4 cats.
Things are playing hide and seek, but maybe you want to say hello to everybody so they know who you are.
Well, I wasn't done with the reading,
okay.
But yes, it's Saturday night. That means it's the best night in radio right here on truthfrequencyradio.com. I'm Frank Castle, your sorcerer supreme, and I'm sitting here with my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
We got some friends in the house tonight.
Oh, yes, we do.
We got some family incoming. Yeah, the light show is going to start really soon. We have guests that have come a very long way to join in the celebration and the ceremonies.
Yes.
All right, so the energies were crazy. I didn't finish reading this, but we'll just go right into it. Shout outs to everyone in the chat room, by the way. I love you guys. And shout outs to Chris and Cherie. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here doing this. Not like this. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And don't forget to stick around for Beyond the Veil and all the other great shows. And don't forget about Rob. It goes on right before us. Beyond the Veil. Wait. Paranormal Portal and Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean. Yeah, see, I know. You know why? Because it's awesome. Why would you not know it? It's like asking me, do you know the Avengers? Yes. You know that's all based on us anyway. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. I do know that. And when I first met you, it was made very clear that my place was to learn about comics as quickly as I could, because those were the analogies for everything basically that happens to us.
Okay, we were watching Black Panther.
Yes.
The movie opens with an ayahuasca ceremony.
Yes, it does.
Did you guys see it? I don't want to ruin it.
Oh,
Okay.
all right,
Well, there's
well,
nothing to ruin. I won't tell. I'm not going to tell the movie, but to get his powers, he has to. They have a sacred plant,
Yep.
and it's the heart-shaped root.
Yep.
But they
And it
crush that down into
only
the
grows in that specific part of the
the
world.
rainforest.
Yeah.
The Wakanda. All right. So then they mash it into a liquid, and then they have to drink it to have they have to die, right?
Mhm.
They put them on the little patch of sand, and they cover the body.
Hmm.
So they, just like an IA experience, you lay on your back,
Yep.
cross your arms over your chest, take a deep breath, because all you can do is breathe, and then boom, you're gone. You're in the psychedelic realm. The Panther god Bast, by the way, that's who he was visiting.
Hmm.
Bast would imbue him with the power of the Panther god.
Don't give it all away.
No, it's just Black Panther's origin. It's okay, because of that process, you get bestowed with it just like your father before you, the Black Panther before you.
Because the truth is sprinkled in to everything.
Like when we were watching, okay, we saw Doctor Strange, and we had talked about everything on Doctor Strange's movie, which the comic book is nothing like the movie. It's just not. It's very different. Okay? And then I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, oh, man. Now, we talked about this last year. So now it's going to sound like we're talking about Doctor Strange, the movie, or Black Panther, the movie, when we have been putting, and I made note of this since we started the show. After it happened the first time, I said, they're going to hear this a year later.
Every time it's referenced, yeah.
People are going to hear this a year later and say, well, you're just watching a movie. And then you guys are doing shows about it. And I'm like, no, the shows came out years before the movies did.
The movie, yeah.
And then you find out that the writers for Doctor Strange couldn't make it happen. They couldn't make it happen. They couldn't make deadline. So there's this shaman. He's a black martial artist. He's a very big guy and a very fearless shaman. He would eat up to 30 grams of mushrooms and go under these heavy-duty experiences. He would purge up some of the mushrooms. He has a whole documentary. And then he would look and see about how much he got rid of, and he'd eat that much again. So they went to him and said, help with the movie. What are we missing? And he put everyone under for 3 months. He just kept them rolling. And you get a fantastic movie that's filled with truth.
Because your perception broadens.
Right. Naturally, they're never going to. You seen Doctor Strange? Okay. When he goes flying through after he drinks the tea, and he's like, what's in this tea that you gave me? When she knocks him out of his body. Yeah. That's a DMT experience. If I've ever seen one on film. That, and when Ant-Man, in the movie Ant-Man, when he shrinks down to the microverse and everything was just fractal spinning. And you even said it, look, fractals. And I'm like, he shrunk down to...
Look, it's sprinkled in everything. It's sprinkled in commercials, what we see on mainstream television, in movies. I mean, because everyone has a little piece of this puzzle. And they want to get their point or their perspective of that piece out.
Right.
Are you guys comic book guys? Yeah. Oh, you are? Okay.
With great power comes great responsibility. That's one of the first things you're going to learn. Once you learn one thing, you're responsible for that item of gnosis. This is why they say, well, what's valuable to you? And it's like, knowledge is valuable.
But I think that's how you were able to communicate, because you were into comics and superheroes from when you were a kid. So this is the way these messages came through for you originally.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the weirdest things, the colors and the energies and the color schemes, this is why I think I watch a lot of cartoons, because the color schemes are the bright colors,
right?
All the shades of the colors, like you get to witness that, and it's very cartoonish. Like I said, this is very cartoon, and then it came out of the cartoon into reality. And I go, oh, it's the difference between the spirit world and the real world and the different densities. I get it now.
But I understand that, because one of my eye experiences, it was a cartoon, almost like The Simpsons. And I say it all the time, like Krusty the Clown, right, from The Simpsons.
into the microphone.
Frank just slapped me. I don't love The Simpsons. Simpsons is, what is it, the longest running cartoon in history? I mean, I watched it when I was a kid. I'm 46 years old now, but that was what I saw in one of my ayahuasca
Absolutely.
experiences. And it wasn't, I mean, I didn't need the message to come in that way, but that's how I saw it. The colors were so vivid and so bright and so beyond. It was like watching a cartoon live in front of your face.
It was very impossible to understand.
Yeah, there's really no way to explain it. So I understand those colors.
And I think that's what attracts us. And I think that's also how the message just seeps out.
The message gets
I think the dark puts the message out anyway and just distorts it because there's no way not to. Like it's in the collective consciousness anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So they just put it out
yeah.
anyway, and then they just put a little twist on it. Right? That's
Right.
how they lead you down a different path,
Right.
You're headed down the path, and then the guru shows up, and it's like, no, but you become your own shaman, and you're like, no, oh, this guy seems to know everything, and you jump on the guru's bandwagon, and he leads you down that. But you were fine by yourself. What were you doing? I was looking at reports today.
Doubt.
I was looking at reports of what it costs
Oh, yeah.
for ayahuasca
you were showing me
ceremonies in
today.
different places. And the numbers were staggering. The lowest one I saw was $2,700. It was like 4 or 5 days.
$2,700?
Yeah.
To drink Aya?
Yeah. These aren't U.S. based, though. So I know Soul Quest is way cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. So
Soul Quest is in Florida.
in
right?
Orlando.
In Orlando.
So the high one, it was like 9 days, and it's not drinking for 9 days. It's like drink 7, and then you have a couple other experiences in there. It was like $43 to $47.
$100.
And I'm going, who has the money for this? Right? And the post was the people that couldn't afford to book.
Oh, one of the chat room folks is saying $27,000 for some experiences. Oh my goodness. That's ridiculous.
Don't listen to Dave from Scotland. Dave might be drunk at St. Patty's.
You dummy, Dave.
So, all right. Point is that all of these people now, where it was, let's say, $2,000 to 23, now cannot go.
No.
No, it's way out of vacation money. Okay. Enlightenment doesn't come that way.
No.
And now I think people are starting to see. When we started the show, one of the first things I said was that Aya showed me that she would go mainstream. Right?
Yes. And then we started seeing it in mainstream television, being referenced in mainstream television.
It was coming out in all different directions. And I was going, but I told you this was going to happen. And people are like, they're whoring out the mother. This is what they're calling it now. And I'm like, all right, look, if there's never been a better time than right now to become your own shaman, this would be it. You get a group of you in an area, learn to deal with the responsibility and have some friggin' respect.
Yeah.
And learn the process and take care of your business. We were just making jokes in here about how gangsters are always around, floating around these parts of the boogie down Bronx. And they'll be like, yeah, man, I did this, that, the other thing. Bro, I took it down, bro. Bro, you have no idea. I'm like, bro, you got to come over and smoke. And they're like, nah, B. I'm like, you gotta come over. I have guests right now. They're sitting right here. Come over. We'll all do it together. Man, what are you, crazy?
Sure.
I'm like, well, you ain't a gangster then. How could you call yourself a gangster?
Some people like to live with their demons. You know that firsthand.
I know.
From our friends.
One of my best friends said to me, and he's a singer, and he's doing. Here's the thing: when you're doing well, and it's not looking like it's physically affecting you, and the person literally has no issues, and it's like, nah, man, I'm doing good. Yeah, I had a crappy life, but now everything's good. It's kind of integrated with me now. So yeah. He helps me write the songs. He does this and that. And I go, no, I know exactly what you're talking about because we've all had them.
Oh, yes.
We get them at work even. Like, I'm the best person at this job. You know that. I've been working here for 7 years, and I'm definitely better than you. Yeah, the demon is creeping right in there.
Absolutely.
Just like he is on the rock star because it just wants in. It just wants food. So you integrate with it and you play games with it back and
Yep,
forth.
and,
But meanwhile,
and that ego feeds that demon. The bigger that ego gets, it took me years to shrink my ego. And once I kind of got a handle on it, my life changed. Everything got better because the ego, you really feed negative energy with that ego.
I believe, and this is just my belief personally, I don't know who else here feels this way or out there feels this way, but I believe that our flesh suits have an AI built into it for survival purposes. So the fight or flight response is built into us. And I believe that's the AI. Like over the course of many years or lifetimes or experiences, just keep gaining and gaining. So they react to those experiences. And it's almost like it runs on the 7 deadly sins almost, because you could, if you don't keep your protections up, those come right in as you're dealing with this AI system,
Right.
which is your ego within yourself, right?
And everyone else's ego. So it's like you
It just gets shadier and shadier.
To get to your true self and to get to someone else's true self is taking longer and longer. And it shouldn't be that hard. But that's what happens. That ego, you let that ego get in the way of everything. That ego feeds that negative energy. And once that negative energy is being fed, it's going to want to continue to be fed. And it's going
That's the thing.
to.
People don't believe it's a thing that gets fed and then becomes more.
It becomes a consciousness. It becomes a consciousness that now you are a part of because you're the one feeding it, and it will do anything to survive. So these people, they think they're so badass and so brave, and then you mention Aya, and right away you could see the fear. You could see the fear in them. Like these guys here. These are brave guys. They came a long way.
I didn't see any fear on nobody's face in this room tonight.
We're going to hold ceremony, and
And I'm going to set it off because I watched Guardians of the Galaxy right before they came in, just to keep it, at a nice level.
But just making the decision, even if you didn't drink, just saying to yourself, I'm going to do this because I'm worth it. And it's something that I need to do because I want to better myself. Because that's why I wanted to drink. I needed to know certain things and I needed to understand certain things. See, she's agreeing with me. Every time Roxy cries, that means she's agreeing. Good girl. But it just making the decision puts you on a different course. Roxy, you're right there, girl. You guys would agree with me, right? Just making the decision puts you on a different. It immediately puts you on a different course. Your life's path is now changed just from deciding to drink.
Listen,
not
I
even
didn't
doing
even
it.
know any of this stuff existed, right? I just heard the stories, the ones that are kind of recent, and I'm like, yeah, right, that's cool. It was so much better than everything else that was out there. Not the drug, not the interaction with my body, but it letting me know there was so much more.
Right.
Just that little bit of a nibble
Mm-hmm.
opened a door that couldn't be closed ever again. And I had no idea that door was even there, existed. This would happen. I would change my whatever. I make jokes all the time about a lot of people that don't like me anymore or don't talk to me anymore. And I notice it. I've noticed it for a long time. I don't say anything and I still stay away from it. But for some strange, weird reason, this boomerang effect has occurred where I just stayed the course. I'm not looking for my friends to hang on. I'm not whatever, but I'm also not hating you and throwing you off the boat. I'm just staying my course. I'm worried about myself. Taking care of my business. I'm not hurting anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not technically cutting you off. If you're not hurting me, everything's groovy. If we're not causing negativity, it's all groovy. But this boomerang effect occurred where it was like those that were lost were way out. And they're still pretty far out, but it's returning. And I told you, Rich was like, hey, mushrooms can help with depression. And I read the article from Forbes. it actually regrows the mental neural
the
pathways.
neural pathways.
And I'm like, well, I've been saying that for years. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, all right. Right now, he knows and I know and you know that
Yeah,
I know that
I
this is what's
know.
been going on the whole time. But just because, you know.
Yeah, it was in Forbes magazine accounts now.
Yeah, no, but and
Yeah.
Frank don't read
It's
Forbes.
legit.
Frank reads Superman number 36 or something.
Right.
You know, so it makes no sense that you would know that and these guys wouldn't. But that's fine. That's fine. I just want you to have the help that you need, because all of this has to get pimped out and go mainstream for you to feel the disrespect, to see the mirror go up in front of you, to feel so, well, they're just taking it and just doing that with it, and it needs to be done like this. And then you show them how to correctly do it, and it's like, oh.
I mean, it's an unpleasant experience. It's not meant.
Yeah, you're walking through fire.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
You're not. It's not a euphoric experience.
But you know what's fun?
It's a painful.
Coming home.
Yeah, it's a painful experience. It can be a beautiful experience, but at the same time, it's a very painful one. So, you know, when you make the decision to drink, and when you make the decision to change your life in that way, you really have to give yourself credit and say, you know, that it's such a brave thing, because you don't know what. You may go in with an intention, but you don't know what the universe really wants you to focus on or to see. And the days, you know, that 28-day, after effect.
You love that. You're a fan
that's
of that,
my
right?
favorite part. Like, you know, I mean, that's when you get all the information, you know, you connect all the dots. You
I do a lot of
all the puzzle.
Do you remember that?
Yes, all the puzzle pieces together. Things just make sense.
I'm like, no, I got
Things
everything,
click.
and then on the 29th day, you're like, bro, I know nothing, and I just got more info.
People and you know, the people that you don't need in your life anymore start to go away. The problems that you don't want to have anymore start to go away. You know, things get better. You know, and, you know, we talk about this coming from a place of hope or coming from a place of fear. You know, once you've experienced Aya, I think you're always going to lean towards the hopeful side, because there is very little to be afraid of
Those
after.
that are creators, if it's in you, it's coming out.
Right.
You know, remember you said to me, even if when it looks like it's not working, it's working.
Mm-hmm. You didn't believe anything I said when I went with
I watched some
You
people
did not
where it
one
just straight
thing.
up did not work. No matter how much I tried to do anything, it just didn't work, right? But every single thing, minus like the beings just walking out and making contact with you, all the other stuff to keep you in your awareness of what you need to know to fix yourself, just right out on the table.
Yep.
It's almost like once you have a little bit of the info, or if you touch the medicine and it's you and you feel it somewhere, it's working. It's just you're in a thicker layer maybe, or
it's like when you
everyone's different.
When you do a life in review, when you sit down with yourself in the dark and you go through every mistake you've made or every time something terrible has happened, you're basically doing a life in review, but it's not accurate, because you're seeing what you think was a mistake. So now, under Aya, she shows you, it's like a life in review. It could be sometimes, but she's showing you from a very...
She's not judging you.
From a non-biased opinion. Yeah, exactly.
You get to like
so
sit in the stands and watch.
You're seeing everybody's point of view.
Even
On that
the ones
one,
in the room that
on
weren't
that
there.
one situation, you know, you may have, you know, felt like a victim, or you may have felt like you weren't on top of the situation, but she shows it to you from everyone's point
or
of view.
I failed, I could have did more. Like,
Right.
know.
Where, you know, now you're forced to look at it from how that situation was truly meant to play out. And then you realize you wasted a lot of time thinking about something that you didn't need to think about.
That was the greatest thing of coming out of the loops.
Yeah.
When I stopped like pacing back and forth, what do I got to do with this? When I just scraped it away, I go, I'm just a nervous mess with PTSD.
Yes.
When that's gone, I have all this
Yes.
free time
Yes.
now
Yes.
to think. My brain, everything, the functions slow
Yes.
up. I could bring it down to a breathe.
Because you don't care what other people
there we
think.
go.
When the voice inside your head is more important than the voices out there, then you'll be okay. If you're worried about what everyone else is thinking or doing
This
or
person
saying,
thinks I'm fat. This person thinks I'm ugly. They don't like the sneakers I wear.
You can't make everybody happy. I mean, it's hard to
I
make
shop at Target. They make fun of me.
Yeah,
They say shop at Gucci.
It's hard to make yourself happy. So stop trying to make everybody else happy, because then no one's happy.
Well, the idea is to work on you.
Exactly.
We're just sharing a giant space. It doesn't matter what the external says.
And it's very difficult to do that. Very difficult to do that.
You know, we've learned over history, you know, that person that would stand out that got tired of that nonsense and just was like, look, man, it's me, and this is what I am, and this is what's up, and what you're doing is wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And their voice is shaking and trembling, and their knees are shaking, and they're trembling, and they're just going for it. And you know what? They're alone. And you know what? Years later, we're like, yeah, they were right, man. I'm surprised not more people stood up with them and did the right thing. Yeah, we're at that point again, people. If I worried about certain people and what they thought, we'd never get anywhere. I'd be running in place right now, right? Nope, I just closed the capsule door. You're launching me into orbit? Oh, wait. Technically, I launched myself into here, technically. We all made agreements one way or another, but I had to make the agreement and do this myself. So I got to handle my business.
We're going to lose it.
We're never going to lose it. We're going to win it. We're going to win it all. We're going to do opposite of what the New York Jets. And I'm a Jet fan. We're going to win. We're going to win.
Sometimes I feel like I'm running
This is out.
the sands of time. Another drink of ayahuasca just to free
Go to
my mind.
INRPillars.com and check out all the different t-shirts.
Buy a
and
t-shirt.
artwork. It's awesome. Protection from deception. It's what we do.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
I put the Shiva mantra on, grabbed my singing bowl. Somehow, I just know how to make this bowl sing. I start dancing around the house in circles and spirals, dancing and chanting and setting intentions. I make the bowl hit a very high note, and I was able to maintain this sound. I start to see how things are getting into my house, and I notice the portal in my doorway in my living room. I grab the sage and begin to sing into my intentions. Only my allies, I was going to sing this part, but I'm not going to. Only my allies, my friends and family are allowed entrance. That which does not suit us may not enter. The portal changed its color to blue. Excellent. After finishing up, Paula came home. Now, I remember I had just did that, and when I turned, you walked through the door.
Yep.
So it was like I turned it blue. See, we were just talking about this, synchronicities, right? Didn't we just... So I'm dancing in the house, dancing, like la, 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 right? You know, you've seen me do it.
Yeah.
I'm singing and I'm having a good time, and I'm using everything I've ever learned, and I watch the color change, which is the same color that she's ultimately protected at all times. However her protection works, for some strange reason, it just always works.
Yep.
And it's that color blue. Right up around you. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. So the portal changes color, and on cue, like a theatrical play, in walks Paula, just as I finish and put everything back. Interesting how that works.
I'm always around.
All right, so the next part of this is kind of about Squeak, and I want to keep it a little.
Okay.
I don't really want to get into it because I cried a lot about it, and it was very emotional. It was powerful. But I feel that after all these experiences I've spoke about with you guys with Squeak and everything, I'm very thankful for my experiences. For some strange reason, on top of the whole thing, I know this is being done for me. so then I could make it through.
Right.
Didn't we say this before?
Yeah, we're
About
just talking about it.
how we do it, and then come back to help, like Squeakle level up, and eventually become some kind of conscious being, right, in the physical. And then we would come into his life as a cat being and, help raise him or something. You somehow be a character there, whether or not it be the villains or whatever.
Oh, we're definitely getting him back.
Go through the whole cycle.
We're getting him back. It's just I don't know if it'll be this lifetime or the next. I don't know, but we're getting him back.
Everything is an upgrade when you go through this stuff.
Yeah, no, he's coming back.
What I've seen is there's like a host waiting for us, and they're like, this is like not a finish line that you're going to cross or a death you're going to experience to come here to stand where we are. And I'm like, what does that even mean? They're like, you're coming here in the bodysuit. Don't be afraid. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yep. Everyone has a job to do.
I move into the bathroom and try to collect myself because I was crying, and I'm wondering what's going to happen now that it's time for a shower, right? And the shower, for some reason, is always the most intense.
Well, the water is the conductor.
That's it right there. Yeah, that was a good one. Give me a high five there.
Okay.
All right. The shower felt amazing, as if I was purging all the unhealthy from my body, and something was different again. I could see, now this is where it gets weird, and I know the jokes are going to come flying, but I could see 3 men looking through a triangular portal over my head. No, go ahead. I knew this was going to be funny.
No, because it sounds so outrageous, but it really happened.
No, I know. That's why I'm talking about it on the show. I became one of these men, and it was me. I was one of the 3. Okay. It was the purple blue commander guy that showed up over my bed just the day or 2 before. Yep. It was 2 days before. I became so excited, but all I started to do was laugh. I laughed from my belly like this was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Our dominators are in for quite the surprise, and I laugh even harder. And I was now in my body again. I could see the men looking down through hyperspace in the portal. As I laughed even harder, the tunnel and the portal linked up with me perfectly. I became the other man and screamed, "It's time, let's go." I leaped into the portal as if I was skydiving from a plane. It felt like I was coming down a water slide. This was amazing. Yay. See, I even put that there. Yay, because I felt like I was on a water slide of energy. We make jokes about this constantly, but there's a scene in Ron Burgundy when he goes on in Anchorman when they're on the rainbow, and she's like, "Oh, there's a rainbow, let's do me on it," right? And they're sliding on the rainbow together, and they're playing that weird music. It looked like I was sliding down a rainbow of energy. Not as cartoony as the movie, and I wasn't Ron Burgundy, but through the twists and turns, my excitement grew. I became me in the shower again. I was thinking, well, that was cool. And bam, he slams into the frame of my body. What a ride. He looked at me and said, "We did it." We began to integrate into each other's framework. Holy shit, this is happening. I turned and faced the shower head again, and I began to cry. I felt my skin like it was being torn off, like dead layers of skin were being peeled from me. My right arm around my back and up my spine. I cried. The more I cried and I released, the more layers began to fall. I could see my energy and my new connections. I looked up and down my body and smiled. I could see that now I'm becoming the crystalline form. The house of the Creator. All versions of us are being called home. We are becoming one being. The I am we are. On a side note, I felt amazing, and I am so thankful and grateful. Love is not a strong enough word. So basically what happened is I looked up and saw that commander character, and he jumped right out, and then it was just playing a game of me being him, me being back again, and then integration. Now, you taught me a long time ago, and we talk about this every show, but I try to mention it as often as I can, not to play it out, but the Russian nesting doll. Okay, they were explaining to me that our higher density versions are doing the same thing we're doing, but they have less fractals to absorb, but still have a bunch. So when the times line up and I don't know, man, it's like a galactic clock face that we're on, like a universal wheels within wheels, gears turning gears, moving us into different ages, space-time sections of the universe with different energies and new things happening. And we have to upgrade or you don't go in. It's like you can't handle it.
Right.
You can't handle the truth, but you really can't.
You need to be physically prepared.
So the layers have to come off. And as we're...
unnecessary. You need to leave all that unnecessary stuff behind because there's no room for it. You can't go up in the densities if you're still hanging on to negative emotions. You have to let that go.
Excuse me. Anything that is a
weighing you down,
or an anchor into the old energies is going to not let you get up into the higher realms, or you'll get pushed into it. This is why people are having heart attacks, and they're not people that are a little bit unhealthy are really, really having a hard time now because it's all starting to surface. This is it. You got to shed that stuff and move on. Mm-hmm. If you don't, it's going to be baggage.
What did we started? We're eating less salt now.
We're eating less.
No,
I know.
Yeah, but we're cutting back on salt, and it sounds silly, but we have to do it.
We're being driven, down a path, right? And then it's like a wide road where everyone's merging. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, you know what? All right, I'm not going to eat red meat as much, or I'm not going to smoke cigarettes, or I'm going to try to cut back on certain things, and I'm not going to, eat these kind of products. And as you merge in it, then you start going, okay, I only eat red meat once a week. Then it goes to I don't eat red meat. Maybe I just eat chicken, and then it's like this, and then it becomes everything's organic. And now you're going down the road, and it's like, well, the water's got to be fresh. Nope, it's got to be fresh. It's got to be this way only. Nope. This has to be like this, or I will not do it. Now it's a choke point because you realize all that stuff's being torn off of you. Mm-hmm. You're going to be snaked through this hose and pop out the other end, a stripped down a character without his layers. You don't need the layers anymore. It's the real guy or the real girl. It's you. It's the real you. And that's what we're trying to return back to. It doesn't matter. All the beings in the universe could be there. If you're not prepared for anything like that, it's not going to go well for you at all. And if it does, it's just going to, I don't even want to think about it. Just thinking about going down the wrong way just hurts. Putting a thought out there like, well, these poor people that will have to, it's like, no, man, we're screaming it now. Get on your game.
We decided we weren't going to perpetuate those things. So there's a lot that we don't talk about anymore.
No victimizations, woe is me.
Those things. And, when Frank did this 14-day journey, it was, in the beginning it was a little difficult. But as the days went on, I have to say, we communicated more those days than we had in a long time. I mean, it was just, there was so much to talk about, so much going on, and we got very close in those 14. We got closer than we were in those 14 days, and that wasn't expected at all. That was just like a byproduct of the experiment.
Side effects. Of ceremonies and microdosing and things of the psychedelic nature. Side effects will include loving your partner more. Getting closer, losing the bullshit value to the things that would just constantly, that people bicker and fight about. Like as we go through it, our relationship, those layers have been stripped off from day one. You just said to them before, it was so difficult being with it, right? But now you're used to me, I'm used to you. And it's pretty defined what's happening. There's a lot of missing layers that were stripped away.
I love you, but I have to just, Nicholas, in the chat room, we have pink Himalayan salt in the Bronx. Lone Star, I use it all the time. I just used way too much of it.
It's just the pigeons don't use it.
Nicholas.
Because there's no salted pigeons.
Shut up. Shut up. Nicholas, we have pink Himalayan salt in the Bronx, but I do order it from Amazon, so I am.
She orders it
making
in
fun.
bricks, and let me tell you
I
what.
order it
what else?
in chunks. Yeah, we
okay,
put it all. We put it on all the over the doorways.
So salt is a crystal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when we had.
Oh, you're a biology guy. Salt
So-
is a crystal. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we had a
Just
girl
checking.
here, and she said, I have an attachment. So
Oh, that's
everyone
right,
was
that's
smoking
right, that's
DMT, and we took them in the other room. We had two guys on the bed passed out. They were having a full experience. The girl goes under, and she's like, I don't know what's wrong. It's like attacking me. So it becomes The Exorcist, right? And I'm like, oh, man. So I take a hit, and I start running my hand over her, and I can see there's a reptilian in her,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So
awful.
it's trying to – they try to like – it's like having two people in the machine driving, right? So it's weird. It jumps in, tries to kind of push you to the side. So I run my hand over, and it jumps out of her into my hand, and I go, oh, and then jumps from this hand to this hand, which was I kept away from her. And I go, look at my hand. There's a reptilian. And Paul goes, I can see it jumped from
Yeah.
there to there.
Yeah.
So naturally, it starts with me, and I start choking. I'm going to purge it out. That's what you do. You throw the energy up. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to throw up. So I run out here. I start throwing up in the sink, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't get this thing out of me. She hands me someone while I'm throwing up,
I did.
hands me a chunk of salt.
Yep. I took the salt.
My
chunk
hand
from
felt
the-
like
from the
it was
bowl.
on fire, and then this thing started screaming and melting, and it was just, I was able to just throw it up, like purge it right out. And I was so happy that it hurt
Yep.
this thing more that I squeezed it harder. And I was like, good, burn, you know. I was like, get out. And I threw this thing up. She was clear and clean. I felt great. Got rid of the salt, threw that thing out. It was like it housed it or did something to it and pushed everything out. It was done. Just like that. And I go from salt, pink Himalayan salt.
Honey, it worked that time. It worked every
It
time
makes
we
me
had
wonder
to. It
about
worked every time we had to
why
remove
people
something.
really use salt on top of it's multi-layered. You need the minerals. I get it. Back in the day, it was like the craziest thing. Salt was like the gold, right? You had to have your minerals or you get scurvy or something, right?
Yeah, but I think they also used it to.
No, the salt trade was the most insane thing. But think about what it could be doing to you if blessed. Say the Punjabis knew this, right? The salt mines and everything, they'd put you in there. Why are you laughing? People go to relaxation spas. They go into salt mines. Why would you do that?
No, I think that.
You're
I
like,
think
well,
that's
it would
wonderful.
scrub you as above, so below.
Yep.
On the next layer, what is it doing? Come on, Etherical Translate. We're just running on the fly.
It's
getting rid of things,
It's getting
right?
rid of things.
It's taking out.
Salt draws things out. That's
Right.
why you can't season too far ahead when you season food because it draws all the liquid out. That's what they
See
use
what I'm getting at?
to mummify, right? They use salt. You know.
You could pull that mic off and hold it like you're on
These
a
guys
stage
are so
doing
smart.
rap.
They know everything.
No, I'm just saying, so to make it easier. But so salt is doing all these crazy things for you.
I'm gonna hit you with a shoe.
All right, after the show, it's all good. But so these are the things that we don't realize that we're coming into the awareness of. But back in, or just coming into this life, it's just salt,
Yeah.
but you need it because it
It
has
clears
certain
the
minerals.
dark energy. Yeah.
Right. But see, so
Thank
as
you,
you're,
Sharon.
and they're like, make sure you put salt on all your food because they're drinking lots of alcohol, lots of wine and spirits. So maybe the salt was a way to keep them clean or in balance of not letting the entities actually take hold of them, or
Right.
maybe just that specific entity. While I'm getting my minerals, it's very important, but that's also the protective shield against that guy and that guy.
You may have something,
But not
because
that guy,
it
so you need
works
other things
Every time we have to take something
I've never seen anything
out
work
of
that
you.
good.
Salt.
I go, my hand, it feels like it's on fire.
Yeah,
and
we
then
have these
this thing
big chunks of
screams,
Himalayan
and I go,
salt.
oh, give me more of that, please. Set me on fire with this. Just dump salt on me because I'm going to make this thing scream as loud as it can. Well, but that intent, so all that ridiculousness is just make it a thought in your mind and a one single intent at a character. And then, boom, it's out. It's into the salt. It's into this.
It's done.
It manifests it forward. It pushes the event ahead. This is what it's all about. It's not really about the anger. It's about the point of release of the energy, like a focusing it. It's like, I'm so angry, but you know what? I'm going to do that. And then that relaxed thought of just pushing all of it out. That's what makes it happen. Whether you're happy, sad. When you're sad, it's kind of, and when you're crazy, I notice like if I'm really upset, when I had the people pass away recently.
Yes.
And I got very upset. You got to be careful what you say when you're upset like that, because
Yes.
manifestations happen very quickly.
Yes.
And when you're like, oh, I hate this world, I want to just effing die. It's like, whoa,
Because you're
watch what you're saying.
Because you're vibrating at a low frequency at that moment.
Yeah.
You're upset, or
My
that
guides are like,
period of
"Shut
time
up."
that you're upset.
Yeah, because
You
it starts.
attract all of that in, and they're like, hey, he hasn't been at this frequency in a while. Let's jump on this.
Yeah, right away. Get him out of that. Because and I just noticed this from the ayahuasca. We have to come back down into this environment, right? But you go like, depending on how you go in, you go a bunch of steps ahead. Then you have to fall back a few steps. But you never fall back down to that original step, ever. Never are you back on that step ever again. And if you are, you're probably angry and upset about it. Like, I don't want to be here, man. This doesn't feel right.
And you snap out of it, and you move forward.
Got to break the cycle, change the programming.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do next week's show on the entire next microdose day, because it is the most insane thing. I was just reading over it, and I can't fit it in the time allowed. So I'm not even going to touch it. It's just, it needs its own
It needs
thing.
its own day.
It got so intense.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Is that all it takes? Is just that little bit? Yes. So we're integrating with our higher characters. Has anyone else experienced this? There's a whole bunch of us on the front lines of this. Who have you felt? You might feel like it's your angels or your guides or whatever, but they merge with you, right? They become you, and now you just wake up and you feel a little smarter. Or you go through a few days of really being like, my eyes hurt, the back of my eyes.
Yeah, you were down for like 3 days.
It was the worst experience with my eyes, and I had laser eye surgery back in the day, and for 24 hours my eyes, I could not look at light, and then it just went away and I could look at light. This hurt more than that, but it was the back of my eyes. It felt like someone was poking me and they just kept saying, dude, if your pineal gland expands very little, it's gonna put pressure on everything in that area, which would be your sinuses draining, just pouring out. I was standing here, and I'm like, when did our allergies just kick in like that? Pouring down our face.
I was consulting the biologist.
Oh, well, we got him for days, so it's not gonna. We'll just throw it out there.
Get it together, man. Come on.
But all of these symptoms and these painful experiences we're going through, where I can't even, like, someone asked me today, hey, you want to go up to upstate New York to see Alex Gray's place and everything? There's a group of us going. I was like, nope. It's like, why not? It's like, well, I'm not going anywhere with anyone yet. I can't. The energies are too diverse right now.
They're not letting it happen.
It's
We've been
not
trying
going down.
to go to
It'll be like the first fist fight they have there. We'll show up with a crew and people start screaming, "Fearless!" Like it's a gang or something.
They don't
be like,
want it.
No.
Yeah, they don't want it to happen. We've been trying to get away for a while, and
just won't let us.
It's not going to happen until it's going to happen. And
there's something going on.
There is something going on.
Look, there could be a lot of misinterpretations and a lot of accidental arguments with people just through the Babylon effect, meaning they're talking about the exact same thing, but because of hubris and bull BS, they'll just want to talk over each other and be the better guru of something or another. So they're just like, look, everybody just stay, the ones that need to stay back, stay back. The ones that need to come up, come up. And that's what it is. I can't deal with it. They said right before the big whatever starts to, the big change starts to occur.
Oh, what is
one of the last things you do is not want to be around anyone.
What's happening tomorrow?
It's the equinox, but supposedly through the Q8. What is that? What's that stuff? The hypnotism, the regressions.
Oh, QHHT.
The QH, yeah. All right, so they've been doing tons of talk about the event.
Oh, what is her name? Allison, thank you. Thank you, helpful. Yeah, not you. Not you at all. Not you.
So
Allison Cole, yeah.
but it's not just coming through, and we just said this right before the show started. It's not coming through one channel. And when I mean channel, I don't mean a channeler. I mean one sect of people. It's coming through everyone.
Everyone going for healing.
Everything from science with the solar flares and the possible takedown of the grid or whatever, all the way through to, the ascension and love light and all that other nonsense. And it's all there wrapped into one. When is it going to happen? I don't know. But the set off starts tomorrow or tonight at midnight.
Oh, you mean the kickoff? Like,
They said it could
agree.
happen anywhere from that date
on. I
but
agree.
only within, they said longest, it would be within a year. So I don't even think it's going to be that. I think everybody feels like they're in a holding pattern, yes?
Yeah, and even the chat room folks, I agree. There's and thank you, chat room folks. You really do give great info. But this person is saying, you're
isolating yourself, and I understand that, and you've been doing it for a while. But some of us are a little more ahead in the game. Like I've been under all these ayahuasca experiences, everything, just to come out of it. And Paula, like I said, is already there, and she's not taking that approach. So everyone's just in their own places no matter what.
Yeah.
So those that are isolating know something's coming. They started that a little bit earlier than others.
I started doing it too. I was isolated.
Well, I had no choice. I started but I want to fight people because of the BS. But I don't want to be part of the drama. I don't really want to fight. I really just want to be loving and awesome. But I can't right now. These energies are driving me nuts. It's just that range of energies.
I was isolating. I have been doing it for a while now too, and
so I just don't want to fight. So to what? All right, do nothing, say nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just worry about myself. I worry about you. I worry about my household. When I can't do. Look, you guys ain't going nowhere. You're not going on vacation. You're not going to hang out. You're not going to. Okay, then what are we doing? Well, you're going to be here, so you might as well make the best of it. Okay, you know what we're going to do then? We're going to do all of this. And the answer is you could do whatever the hell you want to do, but you're just going to do it here.
Right.
It's kind of like my mother telling me, oh, you smoke pot? When I was like 18 years old. And I'm like, yeah, I smoke a joint You're not allowed to do any drug outside of this house. In this house, though, if you want to experiment, if it really has to come to that, you do it right here, right there. So I can see what you're doing. And I listened to her. And it was not I've had issues with stuff, rock star, but it never really took me there. It took a lot of people away from me in my life, though. It took
you're
them
very lucky.
and drove them into the ground.
You're very lucky.
I'm just glad I did not go that way. One of the things about running the Horus program, the wounded healer loses everything. Friends, like family members, and it's like the backing of people. It doesn't necessarily mean they leave forever. Like they're still there. They just don't like you, or they just turn a blind eye to you, like whatever, during these hard moments. And then you go screw up, do something crazy. I wound up in jail, right?
Yeah.
Then I got a job. I made the comeback. As soon as I went down and this was a good path, but it was who I was working for. I was going to go to Washington, D.C. and do it. It's a pretty good idea. Boom, break your neck, fall on your head. You ain't going nowhere.
Oh, my God. Time is up.
Right? So just stay on the path. It's going to happen. Yeah. Take a deep breath. Relax yourself. Don't get into the drama with people. Ignore it. Be the protection from deception. Don't tell them about the truth. You just be the truth, and then everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. You worry about other people. That's how you get in trouble. Love you. I'll stick around for Chris and Cherie.